Department of Homeland Security is currently without funding because Washington Republicans would rather see it shut down than pass common sense, just common sense guardrails on ICE. In fact, every Senate Republican present voted just this past weekend against paying our TSA agents. I rise yet again with a simple, practical proposal to pay hard-working TSA agents, pay them right now. They deserve it. If we cannot move forward with funding for the entire Department of Homeland Security, we should at least be able to come together on this. So today I'm asking my colleagues to take just a simple step, pass my legislation right now to pay TSA workers so that commercial air travel remains safe and functional. Don't penalize TSA and the traveling public for the fact that you refuse to rein on ICE and have them be held accountable, have them be trained, transparent, and accountable like every other law enforcement agent in this country.
Is there an objection?
I object.
My Republican colleagues have the power to do something about it. They don't have to wait for the president. So if Washington Republicans, my Senate colleagues, really want to do what's right by their constituents, by the TSA workers, you would have passed my bill to pay TSA officers instead of punishing them and the American people because of your inaction.
Welcome home, y'all. This is Angela Rye. I'm your host of today's SoloPod, and today we are talking about Senate Republicans standing in the way of TSOs. Those are the Transportation Security Administration officers who are responsible for keeping our airports safe every single day, not funding them 8 separate times, separately, 11 times in total. I want to give you all this quick timeline because you're seeing a lot of misinformation online. Right now there's a campaign from Republican leadership that says, thank a Democrat, and they're holding over the heads of the Democratic Party all of the airport congestion from Houston to Dallas to Atlanta, all of these airports. They are holding that over the head of the Democratic Party. But spoiler alert, y'all, Democrats aren't in charge of the House, the Senate, or the administration. This is a Republican problem that needs to be resting squarely at the feet of the Republicans. So let's walk this through a little bit. Thursday, March 5th, Senate Republicans blocked a bill offered by Senator Patty Murray from my home state of Washington to fund all of DHS except for ICE CBP and the DHS Secretary's office. As you all can imagine, $200 million later into an ad campaign, no Kristi Noem to be found. What's the point of funding her office? And this would be, again, to carve out ICE and CBP. March 11th, the Senate Republicans blocked Senator Patty Murray's bill to fund all of DHS again, same bill. Thursday, March 12th, Senate Republicans blocked Senator Jackie Rosen from Nevada, her bill to pay TSA workers while broader negotiations continued. Next was a bill offered by Senator Andy Kim to fund CISA while broader negotiations continued. Then they blocked a bill offered by Senator Chris Murphy. This is now time number 5. To ensure members of the Coast Guard are paid while the negotiations continued. Then Alex Padilla and Adam Schiff introduced a bill. They blocked that bill to fund FEMA while broader negotiations continued. March 18th, they blocked a bill offered by Senator Warnock from Georgia to pay TSA workers. March 19th, blocked a bill from Senator Slotkin from Michigan to pay TSA workers. On the same day, they blocked a bill from Senator Brian Schatz from Hawaii to fund all of DHS except for ICE CBP and the DHS Secretary's office, again, just like Senator Patty Murray's bill. On March 21st, on Saturday, they were in session Saturday to vote. They voted against pure, straightforward, clear legislation to pay TSA workers while these negotiations continued. And just yesterday, yet again, this is the 11th time. We've been saying 5 times, 8 times. It's altogether 11 times. Blocked a bill offered by Jackie Rosen, who you just heard from in this floor speech in the Senate earlier in the show. blocked the bill offering to pay TSA workers again while broader negotiations continue. Well, I have had the opportunity, we all have the opportunity to hear from someone today who has been personally impacted by this shutdown. TSA workers have not received a full paycheck since February 13th. I want to get quickly to a video that talks about why from Senator Kennedy in an interview, and then I'm going to bring on our guest. We may not have that video. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in our guest. We have the president of AFGE Local 554. He is also a lead transportation security officer. We're so grateful for his time. His name is Aaron Barker, and he joins us today.
Hi, Angela. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for joining us, President Barker, and most importantly, for you just taking the time to continue to keep the American public safe while we, frankly, go through these political shenanigans. I know that it's no fun when they're playing with your life, quite frankly, with your livelihood. Can you talk to us about some of the impacts you've already experienced not receiving a paycheck now for 2 pay periods?
Well, so first, yes, I can talk about those things, and I want to make sure we clear this up because there's been some misinformation about that. So this coming weekend will be the third missed paycheck. The first paycheck, um, which people are saying it was a partial paycheck. All of the deductions that you would normally have come out, your taxes, of course, state and federal, your health insurance, your life insurance, all of those deductions came out full deductions. So the paycheck that officers received, the first one was some of them were $1, as little as $1, $5. What can you do with that? So you can call it a partial paycheck, but you can't do anything with that. So this will actually be the third one that's coming up this weekend. As far as me personally, I'm a single person. I don't have the same struggles as a lot of my colleagues who have families. Uh, um, Although my bank account is down there, I'm a single. I don't have mouths to feed. I don't. I do have mortgages. Rent to pay and car note and all of those other things. But my colleagues, they have children. Some of them are battling health issues themselves. And they don't have the money in their bank accounts to take care of their necessities that they have.
Absolutely. And I'm curious to know how they are, like, what they're doing to ensure they make it. Like, I'll just give you this example, Aaron. I was in the airport and I'd make it a point to say, thank you all so much for working. I know you don't have to be here. And at one airport I was in, the officer said back to me, I don't know how much longer I'll be here. I can't afford to be. I need to go find a job. And at the next airport, my home airport in Seattle, I was like, I have cash. I don't have gift cards, but I have cash. Can I give you all? And they said the supervisor has to come take it, and then they disperse it amongst all the working TSOs. What are the things that we can be doing as the general public to offer support? Like, I don't think it's fair that y'all are working so hard to not get paid. ICE is getting paid to roam the halls of the airport, not doing anything. I saw one video, we'll play it later, but ICE was handing out water. And I'm like, that's great, but we can get a little kid that's raising money for a basketball tournament to do that. So why do we have ICE in the airports at all? But I don't need you to comment on that part. I do want to hear about what we can be doing. Like, can we partner with AFGE? Is there something with our local port authorities? What can we do to make sure that you all are getting the resources you need in this time?
Well, first, thank you so much for asking this question. A lot of people are confused about what they can do, or not really confused. They want to know what they can do to help out. So, as federal employees, me in my TSA role, I cannot accept any money, but you can come to me as the AFGE president, and I can accept things from you on behalf of AFGE and distribute it to my members. So that's the same across the board. You can reach out to your local AFGE representative when you go to the airport. Say, hey, who's your local president? Can you give me their number, phone number, or email address? And you can reach out to them, and they can, take whatever you have. You can also reach out to your central labor councils. A lot of municipalities have central labor councils they are one of the resources that we've been using to accept gifts and things like that to distribute out to officers.
Now, how do we reach them generally to partner
The,
with them?
the Central Labor Councils.
Yes.
So you still, I don't know. Every city has a
Yeah.
different name. So it's usually you can say just Google Central Labor Council for whatever city you're in, and it'll tell you if you have one or the neighboring city. Most metropolitan areas have them, and even the rural areas.
Okay, that's good to know. So we'll do that. We'll add that to our show notes just to be helpful. Exactly, our producers and our thread thinking just like me on that to make sure we get that active. And I think the other thing that I would ask you is, one thing, I'm gonna just be honest with you, Aaron. I can be prone to be a little short in the TSA line. I don't like germs, and so those little, the little containers we got to put our stuff in, and then y'all's gloves, y'all touch the same people's stuff. All it's so nasty. So I'm like, I'll do it. I'll touch it. What are some of the things we can do from a mental health standpoint to guard you all's mental health right now? Like, how can we be better customers?
Well, I think the most passengers right now, thank God. Continue this after this fiasco is over.
You said
But
don't let it be because we not getting
yeah,
paid. We don't want that smoke
right.
never.
Right.
Yes.
But most passengers are actually being really, really nice and understand what's going on. So keep doing that. Keep that up. The officers appreciate the words of encouragement and the thanks and all of that. And I don't want to sound unappreciative, but at the end of the day, the thank you is great for my mental, but my bank account's still over here starving,
Yes.
overdrawn. So what we need the public to do is reach out and apply pressure to our congressional members as well. It don't matter what Democrat, Republican, whoever, apply pressure to them because this right now is insane. TSA workers across the nation are pissed off. And I know we don't want to go into the ICE thing, but to have paid employees, federal workers, come into the airport and say that they're going to help me out while getting a paycheck, also
Yes.
collecting per diem, and you're paying for their hotel rooms. That money could have went towards the officers that are already employed. You could have used that money to pay for these paychecks instead of deploying people out to these airports. So just keep up, the words of encouragement and applying pressure to Congress so that they can do their jobs.
Yes, sir. Well, we also gonna try to make sure we get some money in that overdrawn account, Aaron. And thank you for your work with AFGE. We'll make sure that we put whatever information you have for how our community can reach out to AFGE locals and help to provide resources during this time. We are so grateful for y'all. I hate that every single thing about our government feels like a protest right now, but thank you for holding the line and thank you for holding that smile. I will do better at the airport. I promise. I got to go tomorrow. Thanks, Aaron, for
Thank you,
joining
Alan. I
us.
just thought of one more
Yes.
resource that you can do. Also, a lot of airports themselves, they are not they're not federal employees. The airports themselves
Yeah.
some of them have set up donations and things like that. So reach out to your airports as well, just as another way to help out officers.
Yes, and I want to shout out my local airport, SeaTac, where we have two amazing commissioners and some other folks. We have Hamdi and Tashiko, and they have been putting that information out as well. So we got you. We'll be partnering with them as well. Thank you so much, Aaron.
All right, thank
Drive
you.
safely. Okay,
Yes, thank you.
take care. Well, before we get to our next guest, first of all, y'all, Aaron was fantastic. I thank him for his candor, for his humanity, for representing his members so well, and for telling us exactly what we can do. He said, "Y'all don't cut up when this this holdout is up. We can't call it a strike because they're still going to work. But when this holdout is up, don't be come through my airport line and got an attitude. I'm gonna work on it, Aaron. But I just don't like when people touch my stuff. It's my anxiety. Before we get to our next guest, I want to just take a moment so that we're clear. I know I walked through the timeline earlier, but I want to hear from Senator Kennedy on why this particular holdout is happening. It's very, very important for you all to know it is bigger than ICE. It is bigger than CBP. Let's hear what Senator Kennedy says, and then we'll bring up our next guest.
Senator Cruz and I came up with a plan. We said, look, it's a two-step process. The Democrats have offered to open up everything but ICE. Ted and I said, okay, let's accept their offer. And then at the same time, we would offer a bill for reconciliation where we don't need any Democratic votes to do whatever we wanted to do with ICE. And that way we're out of the shutdown and DHS is back open. We submitted that, Senator Thune submitted that to President Trump, as is his right. He said no deals with the Democrats. So we're back to square one.
Now, here's what's important here. I hope that you all heard where he said, through reconciliation, we could do whatever we wanted to do with ICE. But it's not just with ICE. The thing that you all should know is that the Republicans in the Senate are plotting on using the reconciliation process to also pass the SAVE Act. And that is the biggest conundrum that folks who are of goodwill, because I don't just think this is a political lines thing, are struggling with. And I think what is so unfortunate is that our workers, folks who look like me and you at home, y'all, are having to carry this heavy weight because there are people who are irresponsible in the House and in the Senate trying to force the SAVE Act down our throats and also forcing TSA workers to hold the bag. Joining us now is President Everett Kelley. He is the president for the American Federation of Government Employees. Of course, we just heard from Aaron Barker, but this is Everett Kelley. He is he's the big boss, running all the things for AFGE. Mr. Kelley, it's always a pleasure to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great, Angela. I could be doing better.
I know you could.
I can only hurt when my people hurt, right?
Yeah. How many of the TSA workers are members of AFGE? How many members do you have that are TSOs?
There's about 27,000, I think, about 25 to 27,000.
So 27,000 people who have not received a paycheck.
It's more than that now. You talked about membership.
Yeah, I was
but
going
we
to say in your
represent about 47,000 of those employees. Okay.
Yeah. So 47,000 who have not received a paycheck since right before Valentine's Day and are right up on the third pay period where they've not received a paycheck. I got to ask you, President Kelley, you've had to work both sides of the aisle for many years on these issues impacting your workers. I think you know that I'm a former Homeland Security Committee staffer. So I have never seen, we had labor issues, that we had to negotiate with the other side of the aisle, but I've never seen folks so blatantly willing to force people to work without being paid and then bring along ICE to come to the airport to get paid to just stand there. It's like a thumb in the eye of folks who are working so hard across multiple pay periods. What is your feeling about that?
Well, first of all, I don't think that ICE has the skills to perform those duties, number one. I think it's also a slap in the face to those employees that's out there coming to work every single day, making a sacrifice to perform the duties that's necessary for the Americans to fly through the skies, safely. And then you bring someone in that's not even skilled, pay them, actually, like Aaron said earlier, they get paid per diem and all of this extra monies to be there. And what function are they really performing? They're not performing a function. They're just, walking around. People see their uniforms and stuff like that, but they're not performing a duty that makes life better for the flying public. So, I think that it's a disgrace. Yeah. It's un-American to see what we're seeing as it relates to the ICE operation inside of TSA.
I have to ask you, you talked about the pain you're feeling because your people are hurting. Can you tell us about, one of those stories that's standing out for you, the thing that is driving you to fight for them every single day? I know you do it anyway, right? But I think it's important for people to connect with their humanity in this hour. We can't just continue to watch people not get paid and work so hard.
Well, one story that sticks out with me, and I've been pondering over it all night. There is a single mother with 5 children. She purchased a card off of Amazon for $50 to buy food for her 5 children, but she had to set it up into 4 installments. She had to pay $12.50 per payday just to get a $50 worth of groceries. That is not American. And it's sad that we find people in these type of situations. And people are, losing their homes. I mean, they haven't even recovered from the last shutdown. I mean, this is the third shutdown in 6 months.
Yeah.
And they haven't recovered. They say, well, they'll be made whole. They'll get their pay, eventually. But when you start talking about the interest that they have to pay for the monies that they borrow, they never recover. They're never fully recovered. And that's what bothers me more than anything.
You know what, President Kelley, you saying that now, I remember asking another rep from AFGE around the time when former Secretary Kristi Noem announced that there would be bonuses for TSOs. Do you know if those bonuses were ever received?
I don't know if they really were.
Yeah,
I know there was some photo ops, but nobody
that's right.
knew who was getting a bonus and why they was getting a bonus. No rationale, no information whatsoever. So I know there was a few photo ops, but I don't know that, I can't say for certain that anyone received real bonuses.
And I think that's the point here now, too, right? We're talking about a very subjective standard for who at DHS is worthy of paying according to this administration. And so when you think about that, I still believe there's a human response. Obviously, we want members of Congress to do their job, but what would you encourage all of us at home to do? Those of us who have to walk through airport security regularly, those of us who are doing okay, and might have something to offer. I'm curious to know, and we may have lost President Kelley. President Kelley, can you hear me? I think we lost him. Well, I'm going to tell y'all this in case we don't get him back. There is something that we can still do at home. We heard earlier from President Aaron Barker, who also is a TSO, that we can partner with our local port authorities to ensure that we get resources to these TSOs. Again, these are transportation security officials. We can provide gas cards, gift cards. To hear President Kelley talk about this single mom of five children having to put $12.50 aside to ensure that she could feed her children through multiple pay periods. We've got to do better. I think we have President Kelley back, so we're going to have him. There he is. Hi, President Kelley.
I'm sorry about that.
I think it was the devil. The devil did not want you to come through with what we could do to help the people. So that was we normally end our shows with calls to action. And so I wanted to know if there's something that our podcast, Native Land Pod, can do to partner with AFGE to help to get money and resources, gift cards to your members to ensure that they are made whole, or at least, we can fill in the gap a little bit during this really difficult time.
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for even the suggestion of trying to help the people that I represent. They certainly appreciate it. But more than anything, when you go through the airports, be sure to tell them thank you, right? I mean, it matters to them, the fact that people will stop and say, hey, I appreciate what you do. But
no, we lost him again, y'all. I am going to give it just a second. I really want him to have this closing final moment. I really appreciate your patience. There he is. He's back. We got him.
I am so sorry.
No, you're okay.
But you can always give to the Central Labor Councils, to state feds, and ask them to share with the TSOs. These are very patriotic employees that deserve any kind of recognition that they can get. I just know this. I'm still calling on Congress right now to get together today and pass a bill so that these employees can get paid. I submit to you that it will be inhumane. It will be, and we live in a country that people professes to read their Bible and read their Quran and all this stuff. But if they read the book, they will see that the book says that we should not wait until tomorrow to pay people for the work that they perform. And I think that we need to adhere to that. I think that those people that really believe that need to step up and pass legislation tonight to pay these TSOs.
I hear it. So then it sounds like one of our duties is to call 202-224-3121. Let your member of Congress know that you want to ensure that these folks who've been working so hard now for almost 3 pay periods get paid. We're going to reach out to our state central labor councils and make sure that we get resources over to these folks as well. And we will say thank you with a real smile. Thank you so much, President Kelley.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Anytime. You all, this is such an important topic. I know that there are things that, may seem juicier to you, but I want you to think about what you would want somebody to do if you were missing your paycheck and the power was in somebody else's hands. And the power that's in somebody else's hands is a call removed, right? It's an emotional plea removed. Share the story of that single mother of 5 and what she's having to do just to get a $50 gift card to feed her family. That should not be how we live in the 250th anniversary year of this country's alleged birth. I still say it was 1619, but for those of y'all that ascribe to 1776, is this the America that you think we should be? If it's not, put some money on it. Put your words on it. Make sure that it reflects the type of country you want to live in and the one that you hope we would become. Thank you all so much. Welcome home, y'all.
Nobody knows the troubles I've seen,